And then, like, are there, if for example, you wanted to, if an artist wanted to reach you and wanted to have his track played on air, what are the main barriers? Are there like labels that say, well, we want you to have our music for like a certain amount, or are you able to play whatever you want?
I'm absolutely free. And a lot of musicians contact me directly, or send me their music, or ask me to drop by when they are playing. And a lot of musicians who want to work with the radio station or want us to record them ask me directly. And the main barrier actually is that there's always too many people asking for the possibilities I can offer. You know, it's always that I always have to make the choice, even though often I would like to, you know, like have at least like 4 times more possibilities.
Sure.
You know, that's the only barrier actually.
And what are your selection methods?
Criteria?
Yeah, because
the criteria,
you have to make a choice.
Yeah, you have to make a choice. What I try to in the program is to show the versatility of jazz, you know, to not only have one stream that I like the most, you know, played in the program, but I want to have all different kinds of jazz and all different kinds of musical approaches. And I know that to a certain extent I am subjective, you know, I'm not objective, I can't be. But I try to make one of my main criteria, and that I want the music to be played well. But there are bands, for instance, who don't play well in an educated sense. You know, they might sound very raw and very brash, but they are still great. You know, it's.
But then it gets really personal. Of course.
Then it gets really personal, you know, because you know, and sometimes you listen to some music which is produced so well and it's so glossy and everything is so perfect and it's so dead at the same time, you know, and these people might be so you know, on the rise, and everybody says, oh, how wonderful, and I sit there and I think, no, it's, I mean, they know how to play and everything, but where's the spark, you know, what happened to the spark of it? And so it is subjective, you know, but I always try to find something that has, well, essence, or which I think has essence. And I'm happy that there are other people doing this job as well, who have other opinions, you know, and through their choices they widen this variety also, because you know, because I'm just one person with, you know, a certain taste.
Because that also requires some creativity. Like you have a problem, like how do you solve it? Indeed, like you can do it by trying to, well, broadcast things that you might even not like yourself. But in the end, indeed, like it requires some. Well, like and what do you like best is also like why do you like something best, or why do you think that one who is probably perhaps in the same stream or is better than the other. That's but that gets very personal then. Like there are no really good measures to.
And also, you know, it's you don't always make the right choices. Also, I mean, it's not always, you know, well, you do make the right choices, but it's not always that these choices are the God-given law. You know, it's just, as I said, you know, and sometimes it has to do with the moment when things happen. You know, sometimes it just happens that somebody who asks for, you know, being recorded for the first time just comes in the right moment, you know, and you just have this time and you just listen to it now and you just think, oh yes, it's wonderful, you know, whereas somebody else who's been waiting for like months, you know, for some strange reason, you're always busy with something else, you never had the nerve to really sit down and listen, you know, and you might lose the chance to really promote this certain musician, or you know, really help along, but then there might come another time, you know, when it happens, you know. So it's actually really truly sometimes it's also a matter of luck, you know, and whom you meet at what time, and you know, yeah.
And then I think I have one more.
Okay.
Okay. Well, you're already working now for many years. Probably being the most creative when you're young, I think. Perhaps because you're a musician then at that point, or is it? I mean, I can imagine that it works a little bit like that. But do you feel like you're? Perhaps I'm wrong. Like, do you feel you are still as creative as you were perhaps when you were young and did not have, like, perhaps very concrete ideas on how life was or how things were organized? I mean, you are now working perhaps more in an office. Does that affect your person?
Well, I do think when you're young, it's somewhat closer to be creative. It's hard. I mean, back then I really you live off very little money when you're young, so, you know, or you might still be, you know, get some support from your parents, or you know, all that, and you go to schools, you go to universities. That might help, you know, for you to be freer, not thinking so much of, you know, I do have to try to get a certain position in my life, so I will be able to make enough money to, you know, to live, you know. But I wouldn't say, and of course, you know, the job as it is takes more time now. Maybe, but it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Maybe it's when you're older, you don't have to, you're not so powerful anymore. Maybe you just think that it takes more out of you than it used to, or you try to do things better and more thorough when you're older, and then they take more time, and then you feel like you're not so creative anymore because you're very thoroughly, you know, doing this one thing and then doing this next thing, and it's not like this. Oh yeah, it's all full of you know sparks and impulse or stuff like that. So that might. But I don't think that I'm less creative than I used to be. I just don't have that much time anymore to really live it out. You know, to really Hold on a second. Okay. Hello.